What is motivation, right? All factors that cause humans and others to behave the way they do. There's a science behind this. Stay focused, William. Let's talk about the limbic system, right? This is your brain, guys. The limbic system. These are all the pieces that are working together in your brain to work. But the one we want to focus on right now is the hypothalamus right here. It's about the size of an almond inside your brain. But this is the piece that connects all these other sensory glands together. The limbic system has connections to what motivates us based on our memories and other stimuli. This is really important. It controls your body temperature, hunger, thirst, fatigue, and sleep. So you think about these things. These are the things that cause you to need motivation. Oh man, I'm tired. Oh man, I'm hungry. I can't do it. Man, I'm so thirsty. I can't run another one. Man, I'm so fatigued. I can't study anymore for this test. All right? Oh, I'm just sleepy. That's all part of that one piece that's part of your motivation. So there's a science to this, guys. All right? We want to talk about getting you back in the zone. Whether you're on the football field throwing those passes, running those routes, taking some beautiful pictures, doing some music, working on what you love, wrestling, academics, you can be in the zone with that, okay? So let's talk about the body. Here's one problem a lot of you guys have as a generation. We have it too as adults. Deep breathing. Let's talk about some deep breathing techniques, and that's going to be what our demonstration is going to be today. When you experience over-intensity in your life, one of the first things that get disrupted is your breathing. Folks, you know what? Taking advantage of me. Stop taking advantage of me. Okay. The one thing is deep breathing. We don't take, when you get upset, you start doing breathing real fast and all this. And people tell you to do what? Slow down, take a deep breath. But it's so cliche. Oh, slow down, take like whatever. But we all are shallow breathers naturally. Meaning we don't take deep breath. And if we do, we're kind of funny about it because we don't like the state of mind that puts us in. We become a little lightheaded. We have to be a little bit more reflective. If you're mad at somebody, the last thing you want to do is take a deep breath because you still want to be mad. Because the deep breath may take that away. So let's talk about that a little bit more, right? It becomes short and choppy. You don't get the oxygen you need to perform your best. See, that's what it really comes down to. You get upset. You got these short breaths. There's no oxygen getting to your brain. Oxygen in your brain is what makes you function the best. That's why when people have a stroke, they say seconds mean everything. Because every time your body doesn't get oxygen to the brain, you're not functioning properly. So deep breaths gives you all that oxygen. That's what your brain needs to be successful, okay? So you're gonna keep that in mind. The most basic way to lower your intensity is to take control of your breathing, again, by taking slow, deep breaths. Now, right now, I want us all to take, when we do it together, one deep breath. I want a deep one. I want it to impact your diaphragm, your chest should be able to contract, okay? You should feel in your lungs. It should go all the way down to your diaphragm. That's a very deep breath. So on three, we'll do one deep one, then we'll follow by a second one. 1, 2, 3. Did you feel in your chest? Let's take another one. Guys, you got to incorporate that. That's part of success. You have to be able to incorporate that. You don't breathe like that when you're upset, do you? It's all up top. It's going like that, pitter patter, right? Also, for athletes who participate in sports that involve a series of short performances, such as baseball, football, tennis, golf, deep breathing should be a part of your between performance routine. So think about it. Instead of saying, man, we got to play this whole game, right? Every play, just play one play. Don't play the whole game. Just be ready for one play. It's harder to say, man, I got to be up for this whole plan, or I got to read this whole book, right? Oh, man, this book is so long. It's a Harry Potter long book, right? No, read one chapter. Stay locked in for one page, okay? And that means just taking it one step at a time. But naturally, we don't want to do that because we want to rush things, okay? So especially for the sports like that there's a play, it's going to be a dead ball, you can come back and line of scrimmage, come back, gather yourself, and go for the next play, okay? Same thing with basketball. I was just in Chicago this weekend with MSEPS, Midwest Science and Exercise Psychology Symposium. It was wonderful, right? Bringing PhDs and graduate students and even undergraduate students from around the Midwest together to talk about sports psychology. It was great because one of our series with Dr. John, he talked about that the University of Illinois Chicago had just played our University of Detroit. U of D had come to UIC to play, right? And he said how U of D came back from being down maybe double figures. The game was packed, people were screaming, this is a road game for U of D. But they said the guys in the huddle, their level of focus was so powerful that they would just go to the huddle, literally take some deep breaths and be calm in the midst of the storm. To the point where towards the end of the game, they end up going on a break where the U.D. players were doing like this, talking about, yeah, make some noise, because it didn't affect them. So there's a way you can prepare yourself to be that way. A lot of you guys, most of your trouble comes when you get yourself too far out there, you can't get back. It's not just you as teenagers, it's adults too. But you want to think about what you can do to keep that in mind. And deep breathing, man, it doesn't cost any money. It don't take any time. You got to just be content enough with who you are to do it and not worry about what the next person is saying. Okay? Now, same for in between meetings and presentations. Now, from here, I got a lot of things I have to do today. I just got off the phone with the governor's office. There's a big education bill that I'm testifying about tomorrow. I got to get on top of that. Then I got to go have a meeting with my team and go through some policy work and get on top of that. Then I got to show up at my daughter's school to do some reading. Now, you may say that's no big deal, but these are all separate events that I want to be mentally present for. So when I leave out of here, I want to go and sit down and relax a moment, gather myself, but it's the deep breathing that can help me do it and have a successful day. And you guys can do the same thing. Let's move on to the next one. How to strive in high-pressure situations, all right? How to strive. I didn't say just get by. Oh, I'm talking about to command it, to own it, all right? Courage is grace under pressure. Ernest Hemingway, famous writer. But think about those comments. Courage is grace under pressure. Nobody didn't say you weren't scared, but there's a way you can get to the point where you can be graceful with what you do. I like to tell people all the time, man, in this life, you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to look back on the things you went through and accomplished and be like, wow, how did I do that? So I'm suggesting you're better off being graceful and learning how to be graceful through your challenging times. So when you can look back, you're like, man, I was a wuss in that situation. I didn't have to break down like that. I could have managed that better. Because you're going to have ups and downs. You know, you thinking about that now? Yeah, that's great. That's real, though. It's going to be an up and down situation. At the end of the day, you want to say, okay, I handled that nice. I didn't panic. I didn't freak out. I managed that situation. And you can do that, okay? All right. Talk about two groups, right? This was on the website. The Art of Manliness is pretty good. Think about it. The score is tied up. Only 1 second left on the clock. State championship is on the line. You step to the foul line. Dribble. Take that deep breath. Then you switch it. You sink the foul shot to win the game. You're clutch. You did it. Let's do non-athletic. You have a group presentation. The person supposed to give a certain part can't do it. They didn't show up. Situation at home. You have to step up and do their part and your part. You take some deep breaths. You look over your notes and you nail the part. That's clutch too. Okay? Clutch isn't just on the free throw line. Clutch is in any life situation that you can step up to. But notice what's the commonality there. Take a few deep breaths. Gather yourself. Well, give yourself an opportunity to be fully present. Let that oxygen get to your brain. You want to be fully loaded or half loaded when you go into a situation. Give yourself that opportunity. Slow down and take a step back, okay? A lot of examples about this. There were some physics PhD students versus some undergraduate students. Now, in physics, you would assume that the PhD students were a little bit more further along, but the undergraduate students are just as bright too. Now, there was a big test that they gave them, both. The physics and the PhD students and the undergrad students. So you had the PhDs who were about to be doctor this and doctor that, and the undergrad working their way in. It was a big test they gave them. Big logic problem. The key difference in how each group attacked it is that the PhD students didn't rush in. They looked at the problem, took some time, made some notes, kind of thought about how they were going to attack it, and then they went in. The undergraduate students overwhelmingly just jumped on the problem. Boom, 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 boom. Now the problem with that is, when you jump out like that, you may say, oh, this is an XYZ situation. You jump out there, you start going down that rabbit hole and realizing, dang, this is not it. Oh, I missed that part. I got to go back. But is that what I really want to do? So look at all that scrambling you're doing, all that wasted time and energy, compared to saying, wait, let me look at this for a little while, okay? Let me take my time. I love telling the story out of the book, 48 Laws of Power. It's such a great story. Story about a time in ancient China where you had the kingdom with all the luxury inside of the city, but outside the city gates was a wasteland, okay, like Mad Max. Like if you're not inside the gates, you're going to be unsafe. And I may have shared this to you guys in one way or another. So there was a young man with a young man. They were both trying to get into the city.